Imu's going to kill Jinbei. So the reason why I say that is because this is an accompanying video to my 30-year anniversary video in which I talk about how Jinbei is the most likely Straw Hat to die because there's no narrative reason for him to move forward in the series. However, I think this is the narrative reason to give Luffy a reason to have a vendetta against Imu, much like how he has a vendetta against Akinu and Blackbeard, who are both in part responsible for killing his brother Porgas the Ace. So that is why I think Jinbei is going to die, because Imu is going to kill him, and his death is going to be a reason for Luffy to go after Imu directly. But the reason why I think Jinbei is going to die in this arc in particular is because there are a lot of very interesting notes that play into what we've seen before from Big Mom. And we know that we learned the most about Big Mom from Elbaf due to her flashback, because what's so interesting about all this is that Imu performs Dami Reversi in chapter 1150, in which she turns Brock, Udori, and some other giants into demons for exchange of a bit of their lifespan. Now, the reason why that doesn't matter for giants is because giants live for such a long time that taking a bit of their lifespan is not going to affect them at all. However, it would affect somebody who's not a giant, like Jinbei. So I think at some point, Imu's going to perform Dami Reversi on Jinbei specifically, and that's the only Straw Hat that's going to be affected by this move. How this plays back into Big Mom is because, one, Big Mom wanted a giant army as well. Imu is achieving that through Dami Reversi. Number two, Big Mom, using the powers of her Paramecia type soul fruit, could too remove lifespan from people, either through them being afraid of her or if they gave up lifespan willingly. This is what Imu is doing in order to turn people into demons. So with that being said, I think these themes are going to fall back onto Jinbei, because Jinbei was a target in Whole Cake Island to have lifespan ripped from him, especially when he was offered to play that spinning wheel game in order to leave the Big Mom Pirates. And then he was almost forced into giving up his soul when Big Mom performed Soul Pocus. Of course, he wasn't afraid of her, so that didn't work. But then we have not heard anything about the Sun Pirates, despite Jinbei saying they got away freely. So what I think is going on is that something happened in the escape from Whole Cake Island concerning the Sun Pirates, because even in the anime, it's framed that something happened and not everybody made it out. So I think no matter what has actually happened, Jinbei had to give up some of his lifespan in order to either go free or for the exchange for the rest of his crew to go free. Something had to have happened there. So since he has joined the Straw Hat Pirates, he has been without a piece of his lifespan thanks to Big Mom. So if he gets affected by Dami Reversi and gives up some of his lifespan, by the time all of this resolves, he is going to croak because he doesn't have much life left to give. That's why I think Jinbei is going to be targeted for death in this arc, because this arc already has so much in common with what Big Mom does and what Big Mom wanted to do, that I can't believe that with these replay of events going on here, that Jinbei gets away scot-free again, supposedly. So that's why I think there was set up in Whole Cake Island for some lifespan of his to be taken away, and then that's going to be repeated in this arc when he falls under the spell of Dami Reversi performed by Imu. This then will give Luffy the reasoning to go after Imu specifically, like how he has a vendetta with Aki Inu and Blackbeard, setting Imu up as a villain and setting Imu up as a very serious threat who means serious business. With that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Works It!